Managing type 1 diabetes in a young kid is a full-time job. But what if adding technology could make it so much easier? When my son was first diagnosed, I felt so overwhelmed trying to keep up with blood sugars, insulin, and everything in between. But I quickly learned that the right tech tools not only help, but completely change the game. In this video, I am sharing 5 essential tech tools that can help simplify T1D management, improve safety, and increase your peace of mind. We'll walk through how each tool works, what to expect, and how to get started so you can feel equipped and empowered and less overwhelmed. The first tool that I want to share with you is a continuous glucose monitor, or a CGM. I thought managing diabetes in my son, who was diagnosed at just 18 months old, meant constant finger pricks. In reality, I learned that CGMs allow you to constantly know what your child's blood sugar is at any given time. There are different CGMs on the market, like Dexcom, Freestyle Libre, or Medtronic company also makes one. And CGMs work by a small sensor that is inserted in the skin, typically in young kids, on the arm or maybe on their belly or on their lower back. And that sensor tests the interstitial fluid, or the fluid that is going through the tissues, and it measures the blood glucose every few minutes. Each CGM is a little bit different based off of how often it gives a reading. We use the Dexcom G7, and so that's a reading every 5 minutes. And the glucose readings that you get are being sent to either your phone or a receiver. Getting that CGM has been a complete game changer for us because it allows me to set customizable alarms, which can allow you to know when there are highs and lows so that you can act before things get serious. For us, CGMs have also helped to alleviate some of that nighttime anxiety. Of course, it's not completely gone, but it does help, because knowing that you'll get alerted if your child's blood sugar drops in the night helps to give you a little bit more restful night. And that matters. Now, here's a pro tip: avoid alarm fatigue. Set alarms that make sense for your child's patterns. Many CGMs allow for custom high and low alarms as well as a quiet mode. But tracking numbers is just one piece of the puzzle. But what if you could automate insulin delivery to match those numbers? The second tech tool that I want to talk about now is insulin pumps, and in particular, automated insulin delivery, or an AID system. Before we got the Omnipod 5 for my son, which is a type of insulin pump, I thought that I was forever going to have to hold my son down to give him his insulin injections. It actually took 2 of us to do it, and it was traumatizing every single time. But I learned that an insulin pump provides insulin for him 24/7, which means, thankfully, less pokes. Insulin pumps are usually a small device that administer insulin through this small, tiny tube that is inserted into the subcutaneous tissue, or the fatty tissue. And that helps to replace multiple daily injections, or MDI. Pumps allow for precise dosing. In the Omnipod, I can actually give him 0.05 worth of insulin at any given time. Pumps can help with fewer blood sugar swings because you're able to give tinier increments of insulin at different times. And of course, allows a little bit more flexibility in life. If your child is anything like my son, he likes to eat constantly. And I hated having to give him an injection every time he wanted to eat something. But just a few clicks on his insulin pump controller, I can give him insulin and he doesn't even know. And he's able to live his little kid life, eating all of the food that he wants to his heart content. Another thing that I wanted to mention is pumps allow for temporary basal adjustments. If you're on injections, you give that basal dose the night before. Dose is finite, it is what it is. But if you're on a pump and you notice that you're going through a sick day, or they're having a growth spurt and you need an adjustment, you could just go on that controller and adjust it right then and there, and it changes and you're off to the races. As with anything in regards to diabetes, Even if you're on a pump, you always need to keep backup supplies, pump supplies as well as injections in case of a pump malfunction, because you never know if you're out and about and something happens and you still need to give your kid insulin because they need to eat, or you see that they're going high. You need to be able to address that situation. So yes, pumps are great, but they do fail sometimes, and you have to have supplies on hand to make adjustments and handle that situation. There are different types of pumps out on the market right now. There are tubeless pumps like the Omnipod, which my son has, and there's also tubing pumps as well. If your child's a bit older and you feel like they can give an opinion on the matter, please consult with them and try to make this a joint decision, because they are the ones that are going to have to wear the pump, and they need to be comfortable with what it is that they're having to have attached to their body on a daily basis. For our family, my son was only diagnosed at 18 months, so he didn't necessarily have a choice. However, he is a typical little boy that's always tumbling, flipping over, climbing up this or that. I can't even imagine putting a tube pump on him right now. Like, the thing would be ripped out like probably every 5 minutes, and I just couldn't handle that type of stress on top of managing diabetes. So we went with the tubeless pump. But we may consider, as he gets older and, calms down a little bit, we may consider doing a tubed pump for him. While insulin delivery is crucial, but keeping track of everything can still feel overwhelming. And that's where mobile apps can come in. So number 3 are mobile apps. And I like to consider them like my diabetes headquarters in my pocket. I thought I had to track everything manually at the beginning, and that's how we started until I learned about some certain apps. There are smartphone apps that can log blood sugars, foods, carb counts, insulin dosing, meals, and exercise all in one place. Apps like Guru, SugarMate, and Glucose Buddy can sync with devices to track trends and provide insights, which in turn can help you to identify patterns like consistent highs at certain times of the day, or even after your child has eaten a certain meal, or even persistent lows during certain times of day when they've eaten a certain food or they've given this particular dose of insulin at this particular time. And this helps you so that you can make adjustments to management strategies. Some apps can offer reminders, bolus calculators, or even predict trends using machine learning. I always like to test a few apps to figure out which ones will meet your particular needs. Some focus on tracking, while others gamify diabetes management for kids. Older kids may even enjoy using the apps themselves. Letting them log meals or track their trends builds confidence and ownership over time. Tracking is great, but what if you need to share this data with caregivers, teachers, or even doctors in real time? The fourth tech tool that I want to share is data sharing platforms, which help to keep everyone in your child's care team in the loop. In the beginning, I thought I had to be with my son 24/7 to monitor his blood sugar. But with these data sharing platforms, I can know what his numbers are from anywhere. And it allows me a little bit of time to feel comfortable to step out for an hour or two and leave him in someone else's care. Each CGM system has their own follow and share apps, allows parents, caregivers, teachers, and even doctors to view live blood sugar readings remotely. These apps give you peace of mind, especially for school days, sleepovers, or field trips, or times when you just need a little bit of rest. These tools allow for your diabetes team to make more informed decisions faster. You don't have to wait to your next clinic appointment to make a basal adjustment. Now, I do want to mention to set boundaries on notifications, because too many people following your child and just being all in the mix, or just too many cooks in the kitchen, can become overwhelming. And it's always good to make a plan for caregivers. For example, if a teacher sees a low alert, what do you expect them to do in those instances? Do they call you or just treat immediately? Clear protocols are essential. And finally, let's look at the future of diabetes technology, tools that do even more thinking for you. And number 5, the future of T1D management. Since type 1 diabetes and diabetes in general has been around for forever, and of course there has been lots of advancements, I still didn't think that it was going to be such a hands-on management of diabetes in my son in 2025. But I found out that there are closed loop insulin that help to make diabetes management so much easier. So hybrid closed loop systems are a CGM plus an insulin pump that work together to adjust insulin dosing automatically. Smart insulin pens can log doses, track insulin on board, and even suggest correction doses based off of the current blood sugar, all through an app. And these types of innovations just help to reduce the mental loads and the thousands of decisions that you as a parent have to make on behalf of your child on a minute to minute basis. And they help to maintain better blood sugar control with less effort. These systems make hundreds of micro adjustments per day that used to require constant human decision making. Talk to your healthcare provider about insurance coverage because many of these things are becoming a lot more accessible. But don't feel pressure to update your technology immediately. If what you're doing now is working, then continue. I just wanted to share these things with you so you were aware of what was out there. Try what feels manageable and build confidence before layering on more tech. Because diabetes is already overwhelming enough. You do not have to use everything all at once. One small change can make a huge impact. And for us, the CGM out of that whole list that I shared with you is my number one. Now, technology does not replace good diabetes management, but it does make it easier. Start with one tool at a time, and you'll find what works best for your child. Which tech tool has helped your child the most? For us, like I said, was the CGM. Let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear from you. If you're looking for more T1D management tips, check out my other videos, and I'd love to see you next time.